Kayla moved carefully between the broken pillars of the ancient temple ruins on Velarath. Her long purple robes swayed as her three-fingered hands brushed away layers of dust on the stone wall. She activated her scanning device, hoping to uncover anything new for her research. Kayla was a student of ancient galactic history, one of the youngest ever accepted into the Grand Academy. But even among other scholars, she was different. While others focused on technology or trade history, Kayla was fascinated by old myths, especially those no one believed anymore. She adjusted her breathing mask and turned on her translator chip. The ancient language carved into the stone shimmered in her visor. Most of it was unreadable, but one line stood out. "Fear the ones from Terra. When cornered, they become the storm." Kayla frowned. She had read about Terra before. An old, blue planet from the outer sectors. No one knew much about it now. Some believed it had been destroyed in a starfire. Others said its people simply vanished after the collapse war hundreds of cycles ago. But in the most ancient archives, Terra was said to be the home of humans, a species of myth. Dangerous, unpredictable. Survivors, one scroll had said. Kayla had always thought it was just storytelling. Her teachers told her not to waste time on these tales. Humans were never real, they said. Just a tale used to explain the unknown. But something deep inside her whispered otherwise. Her scanner beeped. A hidden compartment opened behind the wall, revealing a small data crystal, still glowing, faintly. Carefully, she placed it into her reader. It was old, almost too damaged to work, but her translator began to load a short recording. A fuzzy hologram appeared. A tall creature stood in battle armor, speaking in a strong tone. His voice sounded rough but clear. Though the translation struggled, Kayla caught the words. "This is Captain Jace Moran, 7th Terran Defense. If anyone receives this, know that Terra has fallen, but we do not surrender. We never surrender." Then the recording ended. Kayla's heart pounded. This wasn't a story. This was real. A human. On record, alive at the end of Terra's known history. She looked around quickly, afraid someone might take the crystal, but no one was there. She was alone, standing in the ruins of forgotten truth. Back at the academy later that day, Kayla rushed into the data room. She uploaded the file to a secure console and tried to cross-check it with the archives, but many files about humans had been erased or marked restricted. Only short fragments remained, warnings, mostly. Descriptions of soldiers that survived radiation storms, climbed out of crashed ships and fought barehanded against machines. She tried to tell her fellow researchers. "You're chasing ghosts," said one. "No real species could survive like that," said another. "Humans are war fiction, that's all." But Kayla couldn't let it go. She knew what she saw. A real human had recorded that message. And it wasn't a myth. It was history. Later that night, Kayla stared at the hologram again in her private quarters. The man's eyes looked tired but strong. His face was lined with dirt and battle, yet there was something calm about him. He wasn't afraid. He was ready. "Why were you forgotten?" she whispered. "And where are your people now?" That night, Kayla sent a request to the Exploration Council. She wanted permission to follow the old Terran signal paths mentioned in her research. Most had been closed after the war, believed to be empty zones. But maybe one wasn't. Maybe something or someone was still out there. As she waited for approval, Kayla began preparing her personal ship. She loaded scanners, translators, and energy supplies. She didn't know what she would find, but she had to try. Because if humans were real, if even one still existed, then everything the galaxy believed was about to change, and Kayla would be the first to prove it. Kayla sat in the cockpit of her small exploration ship, the Starling, her fingers moving quickly over the control panel. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, cold and distant. Her ship hummed softly as it moved steadily toward the forbidden sector known as the Black Zone. It was a part of space that most ships avoided. After the collapse war, many planets and ships had disappeared here, and no one had dared explore it for many years. The request Kayla had sent to the Exploration Council had been accepted, but only with strict warnings. They told her the area was dangerous and filled with unknown threats. Yet her curiosity was stronger than fear. The data crystal she had found hinted at something alive, or at least active, beyond those dark stars. For days, Kayla's ship traveled through quiet space. The black zone lived up to its name, dark, empty, and eerie. No friendly signals, no trading ships, no signs of life. Only silence. Then, suddenly, a faint beep interrupted the silence. Kayla's scanner picked up a signal, weak and irregular but unmistakably artificial. She leaned forward, eyes sharp. Distress signal, her computer translated. Her heart jumped. Could it be from a human? From Terra? The very thought sent shivers through her. Kayla quickly adjusted the receiver to strengthen the signal. It was old, very old, but the language was familiar. It matched the extinct Earth dialect she had studied. She tried to decode the message as best as she could. Help. Crew trapped. System failing. Terra survivor. The broken message whispered over the static. Kayla's mind raced. This could be the sign she had hoped for. If even one human still existed, she must find them. The signal's source came from a nearby abandoned star system inside the black zone. It was marked on old maps, but had been left alone for centuries. Kayla checked the coordinates carefully, then set course. Her ship moved faster, entering the system with caution. The planets here were strange and lifeless, but one place caught her eye, a ship, floating silently in space, old, but intact. The hull was scratched and worn, but the shape was unmistakably human. It was a Terran vessel. Kayla's breath caught in her throat. She prepared the docking clamps and slowly approached the ship. The moment she connected, alarms inside her own ship went off. The old vessel was sending a faint power signal but was mostly offline. Whatever was inside had been waiting a long time. She activated the airlock and entered carefully. Inside, the ship was dark and cold. Panels flickered weakly. Dust settled on every surface. Kayla moved through the corridors with her flashlight, her heart pounding. Then she found it. A cryo chamber in the center of the ship, still sealed. The glass was cracked but holding. She looked inside and saw a figure frozen in time. A man, pale and thin but clearly alive. The uniform he wore was battle-worn but still recognizable as Terran Defense Corps. Kayla swallowed hard. She activated the ship's medical console and began to warm the cryo chamber slowly. Time passed slowly, as the ancient systems rebooted. Finally, the man's eyes fluttered open. He gasped, struggling to breathe. His voice was rough, but when he saw Kayla, he managed to speak. "Where am I?" Kayla smiled softly. "You're safe. I am Kayla. From Velaratha. I found you drifting here." The man blinked, confusion mixing with recognition. "Velaratha. Humans. Myths," Kayla nodded. "You're real. You're here. I found you." His face softened, a mixture of relief and pain. "My name is Jace Moran," he said weakly. "Captain of the 7th Terran Defense." Kayla helped him sit up carefully. He looked fragile, but his eyes held a strength that surprised her. Jace looked around the ship slowly. "How long?" "Hundreds of cycles," Kayla answered. "The galaxy thought your people were gone." Jace shook his head. "We never gave up. We never stopped to fighting." Kayla studied him closely. His words were like a promise, like a fire that had not died out. Suddenly a warning flashed on her console. Unknown fleet detected. Approaching fast. Kayla's eyes widened. She quickly scanned the HAR. Incoming ships, pirates, scavengers looking for treasure. They had probably detected the old human ship's power signature and were coming to loot it. Jace's eyes sharpened. "We need to defend this ship." Kayla hesitated. "We're only 2 and our ship isn't built for battle." Jace smiled faintly. "We will find a way. Humans don't run from a fight." Kayla felt a new hope rising inside her. This man was not just a survivor, he was a warrior, And maybe, with him, she could change the galaxy's view of humanity forever. She moved to the ship's control panel, ready to prepare for what was coming. The black zone, once silent and empty, was about to roar back to life. The warning lights flashed red across the control room of Kayla's ship as the hostile fleet closed in. Outside the viewport, dark shapes moved swiftly, pirate ships sleek and armed. Kayla's heart hammered in her chest. She glanced at Captain Jace Moran, the man she had just awakened from centuries of cryosleep. His eyes were calm, steady, full of experience. "We have little time," Jace said quietly. "Tell me, Kayla, what weapons do we have?" Kayla looked at the control panels. Mostly old defense turrets and some energy pulses. Nothing like the weapons you probably had back home. Jace nodded. "We fight smart, not just with power." Kayla was not sure what he meant, but she trusted him. The pirates began their attack, firing bright blasts that lit up the void outside. Kayla's ship shuddered from the impacts. "Shields holding," she reported, gripping the console tightly. Jace moved to the tactical screen, studying the attackers. "They think they face a weak scholarship. They will be surprised." Kayla found herself watching him closely. He had a quiet confidence that made her feel hope for the first time since waking him. "Prepare to launch countermeasures," Jace ordered. Kayla followed his commands. Together they started to use every resource aboard the Starling. Jace guided Kayla to aim the turrets in ways she never thought of, targeting enemy engines, breaking their formation, and forcing confusion. One by one, the pirates' ships slowed or spun out of control. But the fight was not over. There were too many of them. "We can't last long," Kayla said, voice tight. Jace's eyes never left the screen. "Then we end this now. I need to board their command ship." Kayla shook her head quickly. "You can't. You're weak after cryosleep. We don't even know their numbers." Jace smiled, faint but certain. "That's why you helped me." Kayla hesitated but knew she could not argue. With trembling hands, she readied the Starling's boarding pod. Jace suited up quickly, despite his weakness, and prepared to fight. "Be careful," Kayla said, worry filling her voice. Jace looked at her. "We will win. For Terra. For the future." The boarding pod launched with a soft roar, speeding toward the largest pirate ship. Kayla followed in the Starling, giving Jace cover fire from the turrets. Inside the pirate ship, Jace moved with surprising strength and skill. Despite centuries asleep, his training as a human warrior shone through every step. He took down guards quickly and made his way to the command center. The pirate captain, a ruthless alien with sharp claws and cruel eyes, stood ready. "You're crazy, human," the captain snarled. "You are nothing now but a ghost." Jace smiled coldly. "Ghosts can haunt the living." The battle was fierce but brief. Jace's combat skills and determination overwhelmed the pirates. He seized control of their ship's systems and sent a powerful signal to Kayla. "Prepare to escape," he said over the comm. Kayla activated the Starling's engines and followed the pirate ship out of the black zone. Together, they dodged remaining attackers and entered open space. Breathing heavily, Kayla looked at Jace. "I never thought humans were real. But you are more than a myth." Jace nodded slowly. "We survived because we never gave up, because we fought for those who could not fight for themselves." Kayla smiled. "And now, you fight for the galaxy again." For the first time, she saw humans not as legends or stories, but as warriors with heart and hope. As they left the danger behind, Kayla felt a new purpose. She was no longer just a curious scholar. She was a partner in a mission that could change everything. Together, they would prove that humans were not extinct, not weak. They were the storm the galaxy had forgotten, but now ready to return. Kayla's ship, the Starling, floated silently in the quiet space beyond the black zone. The danger had passed, but the excitement still pulsed through her veins. She watched Captain Jace Moran carefully as he rested in the small medical bay. Though his body was weak from the long cryosleep, his spirit burned strong. "I want to understand more," Kayla said softly as she sat beside him. "Tell me what it means to be a human warrior." Jace smiled faintly. It's not just about fighting. It's about protecting, about standing when others fall. It's about hope. Kyla nodded. Your people were thought to be extinct. Many believe humans were too violent, too dangerous. Jace's eyes darkened. We were survivors. We fought not to conquer, but because if we stopped we would have disappeared. It was never about war for glory. Before Kayla could say more, an alarm suddenly rang out. The ship's sensors picked up a large fleet fast approaching. Pirates. But these were different. More advanced, more aggressive. Kayla's heart sank. We have no time to run, she said, panic rising. Jace stood up, steady despite the weakness. Then we fight? Kayla was shocked. She had never seen such courage, in person. She had read of bravery in books, but here it was, alive and real. We don't have powerful weapons, she warned. Jace nodded. We have something better. Strategy, courage, and the will to win. The pirates closed in, their ships glowing, with bright weapons ready to fire. Kayla took the pilot's seat, hands trembling but focused. Jace took command of the ship's tactical systems. Target their command ships first, Jace ordered. Disable their communication and engines. Kayla moved the ship expertly, dodging blasts while firing back weak pulses. Jace guided her, coordinating with their small crew, turning every weakness into strength. The battle grew fierce. The Starling rocked with every hit, but Jace's calm voice gave Kayla hope. Now, fire the ion disruptors. Kayla pressed the button. Streams of energy hit the pirate ships, causing sparks and malfunctions. The enemy faltered. Jace smiled. They think they face a scholarship. They will learn differently. Kayla glanced at him in surprise. His eyes shone with determination and pride. Humans are known for fighting with their minds, not just their strength, he said. Brains and heart. That is our power. The pirate fleet began to retreat, their ships damaged and disorganized. Kayla breathed deeply, relief flooding her. Thank you, Jace, she said. You saved us all. Jace shook his head. No, you saved yourself. I only helped. Kayla realized then that humanity was more than myths. It was about resilience, hope, and the refusal to give up. As the Starling sailed away from the battle, Kayla felt a new respect for the human warrior. The galaxy might have forgotten, but she would make sure the story lived again. After the battle, the Starling drifted quietly through the vast emptiness of space. Kayla sat in the ship's small lounge, staring out at the stars. She felt a strange mix of wonder and sadness. Jace was resting in the medical bay, still recovering from his long sleep and the recent fight. Kayla thought about everything she had learned. The humans were not just warriors. They were survivors shaped by endless hardship. Jace's story was a window into a forgotten past, a past many in the galaxy wanted to forget. One evening, as Kayla prepared a simple meal, Jace came to join her. His face looked tired but calm. Kayla, he said quietly, there is much you do not know about humans. Our history is filled with loss, but also hope. Kayla nodded. I want to understand. Tell me everything. Jace took a deep breath and began. Terra was a small planet, easy to overlook, but it was home to millions of people, each with their own dreams. We had technology, culture, and love, just like any other species. But we were also hunted. Many worlds feared us because we were strong when others were weak. Kayla listened closely. Why? Because humans survived against impossible odds. We fought wars that should have destroyed us. We rebuilt when everything was broken. And when the collapse war came, it changed everything. Jace's eyes grew distant. The collapse war was a time when many species fought for power. Terra became a battlefield, torn apart by machines and enemies. Many humans died. Many more were lost to the stars. Kayla reached out and took his hand gently. I'm sorry. Jace shook his head. Don't be. Our fight made us who we are. We did not give up even when hope seemed lost. Kayla felt a deep respect growing inside her. The humans had endured more than anyone could imagine. Suddenly, the ship's communication panel beeped loudly. Kayla rushed to check the message. It was a request from the Galactic Council, urgent and official. They had learned about Jace's awakening and wanted to speak with him. Kayla looked at Jace. "This is your chance to tell the galaxy who you really are." Jace nodded slowly. "I will do what I can." Soon the Starling was docked at a large space station, filled with representatives from many alien species. The hall was crowded and tense. Many did not trust humans. Some remembered stories of ancient wars and feared what Jace represented. Jace stood tall, his voice steady as he spoke. "I am the last known survivor of Terra's defense. I come not as a threat, but as a witness. Humans are not monsters. We are fighters, yes, but also builders of peace." Whispers spread through the crowd, some scoffed. Others looked curious. Kayla watched him proudly. This was more than a speech. It was the beginning of a new understanding. Jace continued. "Our people were misunderstood and feared, but we never stopped hoping. Now I ask for peace, for a chance, to prove that humans can be allies, not enemies." The council remained silent. Then, one elder stepped forward. "Your words are brave," she said, "but many remember only the stories of war. How will we know you speak truth?" Jace looked at her. "Through my actions, through the future we build together." The council agreed to observe and test Jace's intentions. It was a cautious start, but Kayla knew this was progress. As they left the station, Kayla felt hope blossom. The galaxy might be slow to change, but the truth was out. Humans were not myths. They were echoes of war, yes, but also echoes of hope. And with Jace by her side, Kayla believed the galaxy was ready to listen. The news of Jace Moran's awakening spread quickly across the galaxy. Messages flew from planet to planet, stirring a mix of curiosity, hope, and fear. Some worlds welcomed the return of the legendary human warrior. Others prepared for conflict, unsure if humans would bring peace or destruction. Kayla and Jace traveled together aboard the Starling, now repaired and strengthened after their last battle. They visited planets and stations, meeting with leaders, scholars, and soldiers. Everywhere, Jace shared his story, not just of war, but of survival, courage, and the will to protect. Yet not all listened with open minds. A powerful coalition of alien factions known as the Crimson Alliance viewed Jace as a threat. They had long distrusted humanity's reputation. Now that a human had returned, they feared a new war might begin. The Alliance secretly prepared a fleet to destroy the Starling and eliminate the last Terran. Kayla learned of the threat from an informant on a distant mining colony. Her eyes widened with worry. "We can't run forever," she said to Jace. Jace nodded. "Then we must stand. This time, not as a lone ship, but as a symbol." Kayla worked quickly, sending messages to friendly planets, calling for allies to join them. Slowly, responses came. Some small fleets answered her call, ready to stand with the human and his new friend. The Crimson Alliance fleet approached, dark and powerful. They believed victory was certain. But Jace had a plan. His knowledge of old Terran tactics combined with Kayla's advanced alien technology made them a force to be reckoned with. The battle began near a vast asteroid field, a dangerous place that few dared to enter. Jace used the terrain to their advantage, guiding their small fleet between massive rocks and narrow passages. The Crimson ships fired blindly, unable to keep formation. Jace's forces struck quickly, disabling key enemy vessels before they could react. Kayla piloted the Starling through tight spaces, dodging enemy fire with expert precision. Jace coordinated the attacks, calm and focused. Despite being outnumbered, their small fleet held strong. The battle was fierce and long. Explosions lit the dark space like distant stars. Many ships were lost on both sides. But slowly, the Crimson Alliance began to retreat. Kayla looked at Jace, admiration shining in her eyes. "You did it," she said, "against all odds. Jace shook his head. We did it. Together. News of their victory spread quickly, changing the minds of many across the galaxy. If humans could face such odds and win, maybe the stories were true. Not just of warriors, but of hope. Jace and Kayla landed on a neutral world to recover. As they stepped onto the planet's surface, crowds gathered. People cheered, no longer seeing humans as myths, but as heroes. Jace smiled, but his eyes were serious. This is only the beginning, he said. There are many challenges ahead, but with friends by our side, we will face them. Kayla nodded. The galaxy will learn the truth. Humanity is not extinct. Humanity is alive. As the sun set over the distant mountains, Kayla felt a deep peace. The myths were breaking, the galaxy was changing, and humanity's story was just beginning. The galaxy watched as Captain Jace Moran and Kayla traveled from system to system, their story growing with every new world they visited. The once-forgotten human warrior was no longer a myth, but a symbol of courage and hope. At first, many remained doubtful. The fear of humans had run deep for generations. But Jace's actions spoke louder than words. He did not come as a conqueror or a threat. Instead, he offered friendship and a promise of peace. On a busy space station orbiting the peaceful planet Loris, Jace was invited to speak before a council made up of many alien species. The room was filled with important leaders and curious spectators. Jace stood tall, his voice calm but firm. I am a survivor of a world long lost, he said. I do not seek power or revenge. I seek understanding and peace. He looked out at the crowd. Humans have made mistakes, as all species do. But we also learn, grow, and fight for what is right. I ask you to give humanity a chance, not just to remember us as warriors, but as allies. Whispers filled the room, but a few hands raised in agreement. Kayla watched proudly as Jace spoke with honesty and strength. Later, as the meeting ended, many leaders approached Jace and Kayla. Some apologized for their fear. Others asked questions about humanity's history and culture. Slowly, bridges were built, but not all were pleased. Far beyond the council chambers, the Crimson Alliance watched from their warships. Their anger grew. They saw Jace's growing influence as a threat to their control over the galaxy. In secret, they planned their next move. Meanwhile, Kayla and Jace prepared to leave Loris, knowing their journey was far from over. Do you ever want to go home? Kayla asked quietly as they boarded the Starling. Jace smiled sadly. Home is where the fight is. Wherever there is hope, that is home. Kayla nodded, understanding the truth in his words. As the Starling left orbit, a distant fleet of ships appeared on the horizon. Crimson Alliance warships, ready for battle. But this time, Jace was not alone. The allies he had gained over their journey joined the fight. A new coalition of peacekeepers, scholars, and warriors stood together. The battle that followed was fierce but different. It was not a fight for power, but a stand for unity. Jace led the charge with courage and wisdom. Kayla piloted through the chaos, her trust in him unwavering. When the battle ended, the Crimson Alliance was forced to retreat once more. The galaxy had seen a new kind of strength, the strength of cooperation, trust, and the human spirit. Years passed. Stories of Jace Moran spread across the stars. Children on distant planets learned of the human warrior, who defied myths and brought hope back to the galaxy. Kayla continued her work, sharing knowledge and history, always reminding others of the power found in friendship and bravery. One quiet evening, Kayla and Jace stood on the deck of the Starling, watching a distant sunrise over a peaceful planet. Do you think the galaxy will ever forget the humans again? Kayla asked. Jace shook his head with a gentle smile. No, because now, we are part of its story. And so the myth of humans became legend once more, not as forgotten warriors of the past, but as living proof of hope, courage, and the power to change the stars.